Now, Vatican II is controversial because the Pope who closed it is Paul VI. When he closed it, he said something that's quite controversial. So it ended December 7th, 1965. This was the closing of the council. It's the first time that we ever saw that unusual crucifix that John Paul II was so fond of carrying. Benedict, not so much. It was debuted at this moment when the Pope said this. Paul VI said this at the closing of the Second Vatican Council, December 7th, 1965. He says, quote, "The magisterium of the Church did not wish to pronounce itself under the form of extraordinary dogmatic pronouncements," end quote. That's a big deal. I'm going to put it on the screen. The magisterium of the Church did not wish to pronounce itself under the form of extraordinary dogmatic pronouncements. In other words, it was not going to exercise extraordinary magisterium. People were perplexed by this. Wait, isn't that what ecumenical councils are supposed to do, Holy Father? So he clarified himself. And by the way, if you want these quotes, they're in my book, Infiltration, on page 143, both of them. I'm going to add it to this one here. In view of the pastoral nature of the council, it has avoided proclaiming in an extraordinary manner any dogma carrying the mark of infallibility. End quote. So here you have a pope, the one who saw the ending of Vatican II. He said the magisterium didn't want to pronounce under the form of extraordinary dogmatic pronouncements, and then said that it doesn't have any dogma carrying the mark of infallibility. So what does that mean for Vatican II? Vatican II is unique, my friends. Vatican II is a pastoral council. In fact, just this past week, Bishop Barron, he's been doubling down. All these bishops got the memo, by the way. Stitka, Tobin, Barron, hey, we got to double down on Vatican II. Vigano and others are starting to beat the drum. Let's all get out there and criminalize Vigano. And we got to talk about how awesome Vatican II and how good it's been for the church and how it's inspired faith and done all these great things. So for people like myself, I think for Vigano, for Schneider, for many others, they say, okay, well, that means something's up for debate here in the Second Vatican Council. As I've said before, the Second Vatican Council was an ecumenical council with an asterisk next to it. It's unique in the history of the church. And the people who are all about Vatican II, they tell you this is a unique council. In fact, they talk about the Vatican II church, the conciliar church. They almost speak of it as a new church because something novel occurred in 1962 to 1965. So if there is a dialogue, if there is a debate, if it's not infallible, if it's not under the extraordinary dogmatic pronouncements of the church, then we should be able to go through the documents and say, this is ambiguous, this is problematic, and can we say this is erroneous? Is this an error that is in the church? There's a famous quote by Schillebeeckx, a Dominican theologian, modernistic, who was at the council, and this is on page 144 of my book, Infiltration. He says, quote, "We used ambiguous phrases during the council, and we know how we will interpret them afterwards." This shows that landmines were placed in Vatican II. Liberal, heretical, modernist theologians said, on record, we used ambiguous phrases during the council and we would know how to interpret them afterwards. It's a coup.